Welcome back to Week 7 of the Scouting Report, where we take a look at all the 2020 potential NFL prospects, how they did this week, how they fared. It was a great week, man. It was a great week of college football. I mean, Florida LSU was just mwah. But let's go ahead, let's get into it. But before we do that, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, leave me a thumbs up, and become a bro and subscribe. It's much appreciated. Much obliged. If you don't know what I'm about draft content and some other football stuff, but mainly draft stuff. Speaking of draft stuff, this week I should have my 7-round NFL mock draft out. I'm doing the graphics today, and along with all the picks and finalizing, like I've already finalized my rankings, so it's just going to be a slog for me today. I'm going to be getting all that done, and hopefully I'll have that out by Thursday. So check that out. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna probably be broken up into, I think I decided, 3 videos, so it's gonna be awesome. But let's go ahead, let's get into these prospects, and I'm gonna start with the guys that are gonna be facing each other this week: Jacob Eason, Justin Herbert, because I criticized both last week for having amazing arm talent but not really producing, and then this week they produced. Granted, it wasn't against the best competition, but they looked really good nonetheless. 15-22, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns for Eason against Arizona, and then Herbert just annihilated Colorado. Annihilated. I could go into Burrows at this point, but he's just been as good as he has ever against a very tough Florida defense. I think he's basically cemented his status as a first-round pick. But let's talk about the bad. Let's talk about the ugly. Let's talk about our good friend Jake Fromm, because the dude had 3 picks. 3 picks. One of them returned for a touchdown. 3 picks to the same guy too. He wasn't as accurate as he has been in the past. He was 28-51, and they ended up losing the game, which was a big one. So like there's a lot going on with that, because like I was trying. I had Fromm rising. I had Fromm rising so much, and in this game, this could be just a bad game, and you could be something you want to just toss. Be like, yeah, you know what? This isn't the normal, because it's not. But it's something you should really take into consideration, because again, when Fromm, when other aspects of Georgia's offense struggles, Fromm isn't enough. Fromm can't be the offense, and you kind of want that from your franchise quarterback. You want your quarterback to be able to take control, make the team around him better, even when they're not playing that way. I know it's a team sport, but you know, and so many other factors go into it, but ultimately I think this game will hurt him a little bit. I still think he's that borderline first round, maybe more second round, but man, yeah, rough game from Fromm. Come on, my dude. Now, let's talk about Eno Benjamin, because Eno Benjamin was very, very nice against, who did they face? Oh, yeah, Washington State. That was weird, man. Arizona versus Washington, and then you got Arizona State versus Washington State. Unusual slate of games this week. But he looked really good. 19 carries for 137 yards. He had a touchdown. He had 6 receptions for 34 yards. It looked really good. I was very, very impressed. It was good to see him, because he was really struggling early in the year. Kind of like after first contact, because the thing with Eno is he's really good at breaking tackles and making tacklers miss, or at least would-be tacklers miss. And we haven't really seen a lot of that this year. This game, it was basically back to true form. I loved it. Let's talk about a guy that's probably going to go near the end of this day 3. I want to talk about J.J. Taylor from Arizona, because he did so much in this game. He did so much, and they still lost. But a lot of it, like, let's just take a look, because he had 18 carries, 89 yards, and a touchdown. But he had 3 receptions for 37 yards. He should have had 2 touchdowns, but it was a mixture of the offense just committing bad penalties, and then you had Khalil Tate had just a ton of inaccurate throws that game, and it really hurt because some of them were to JJ Taylor. I really liked seeing him used as a pass catcher, and I think this guy offers a lot of versatility in that aspect in those later rounds. So I'm very excited to I'm very excited to see where he might fall. Now let's talk about there's only one receiver we really need to talk about after this game, man. CeeDee Lamb. He is my number 2. If you were wondering, he's my number 2 ranked receiver. I still think Judy provides a little bit more, but man, CeeDee Lamb's right up there with size, speed. He annihilated Texas, 3 touchdowns, 171 yards. CeeDee Lamb is a monster through and through. And a little bit of unfortunate news. So I talked about last week Oregon's Jake Breland, how he's been the main target there for Herbert. He's been playing very well, and now he is out for the remainder of the season, so we will no longer see him this year. So that's very unfortunate. So I don't know how that will really affect his draft stock. I guess it really depends on the extent of the injury. I didn't really look into that just yet. But Bryce Hopkins from Purdue, man, went off against Maryland. 10 receptions, 140 yards, and I think 6 of those went for first downs. The dude was just nasty. So let's talk about the offensive line, because I got a name I want to talk about because he was on my overrated. No, let's go with overhyped prospects. And I want to talk about Trey Smith, man, because last couple of games he is really, it looks like he's really come back into form. He's only allowed 8 pressures, but granted it was only 18 pass blocking snaps. That Tennessee team they're not going to see a lot of pass blocking snaps, at least through the remainder of the year, because they have such they're very young at quarterback, but at the same time they're not very good at quarterback. They faced Mississippi State. He played well. He's played well the last couple of games. Definitely helps his stock. I don't think he's a first round player like a lot of people do, but again, helped his stock. Now, talking about a first round player, man, Creed Humphrey. I love Creed Humphrey. He's really come to his own. He shut down Texas. Man, he was a monster. I think we will see. I think he's the top interior offensive line prospect in this draft, hands down. And then I got Calvin Throckmorton here again. He's up. I think he's gonna end up falling more in the 3rd round. He might be early 2nd. I love his versatility. I think he better translates as a guard, but he can play tackle. He's played everywhere on the offensive line there at Oregon. He's their most veteran player there on that line. He only allowed 1 pressure against Colorado on a ton of pass blocking snaps. So you like to see that. And it is really helped his stock in general. Now let's talk about the defense, because man, we had a few guys that last year they were hurt, they were banged up, and this year they are playing very well. Terrell Lewis from Alabama has been a monster. He had 11 pressures on 35 pass rushing snaps, 2 sacks. I think he's definitely a 2nd round talent at this point. And then Clavon Chazon from LSU. He's been kind of banged up this year too, but he looked really good against Florida. 5 a hurry and a sack with 5 stops. I don't think he's as dynamic as a pass rusher as some people think, but I like him as a prospect. And then we got the boy Ryan Bowman. The dude did it all. He had a pick, a very athletic looking pick at that, and then 2 pressures, 2 stops. He was just a monster against Arizona. And then I also want to talk about Zach Bond from Wisconsin, because he does it all. He got a lot of pressure against Michigan State. But what I really wanted to talk about was he dropped back 7 times into coverage, came away with a pick. Because I think this guy's better off-ball linebacker, or at least he translates better as an off-ball linebacker than an actual edge rusher. So another linebacker I kind of want to go over real quick is Jordan Brooks from Texas Tech. He hasn't really gotten a lot of love this year, but I think he's played very well. He was good in coverage against Baylor, part of the reason why Charlie Brewer couldn't really do anything. 8 tackles, 2 hurries on the quarterback. He looked very good. Still probably early third, day 3, I should say, though. A couple of guys, man. Jordan Elliott he's been a hot riser in on a lot of people's boards, and I see why, man. The dude was a monster against Ole Miss. He's been pretty good this year. He had 3 pressures. The guy is gonna be, he's after Javon Kinley and Marvin Wilson and Derek Brown. There's Jordan Elliott. I don't think it's first round, but man, he is definitely this interior defensive line class. Not that deep, but there are a lot of good prospects up there at the front of it. And then you got Neville Gallimore, who had 6 pressures against Texas, man, and that's not a bad Texas offensive line. So very impressive. And then let's talk about the secondary, because Bryce Hall, unfortunately, he's going to miss the rest of the year because of an ankle injury. How does this affect his stock? Well, it sounds like a lot of NFL teams, despite his play on the field, aren't that high on him, and I think it's because he might be a little more system how would you say this, like, you know how they say system quarterback? It's kind of like a system corner, but I think a lot of corners work that way. But I don't think, but this doesn't help his case, if anything. He probably will fall down the draft. He'll be in that maybe later first, early second territory, so it really sucks. Hopefully it doesn't keep him out that long. He could go out and play in the Senior Bowl and the Combine. I really do like Bryce Hall a lot. But let's move on. It's about Christian Fulton, because this guy is currently my number 2 corner in this draft class. The dude allowed 5 receptions out of 7 targets against Florida, and you might be like, what? That's a lot. But it was only for 33 yards. He had a pass deflection up in there. He played very well, and don't get it twisted. These Florida wide receivers, they're very good. Very good. They play very well, and he did a very good job against them. But let's talk about another hot riser. And it's going to be, oh man, this is going to be a name and a half. Diamador Lenoir. Or Lenoir. I think it's Lenoir. I think it's French. But the dude went off against Colorado. Again, a lot of the defense on Oregon did go off against Colorado. But this guy's been very good this whole year. He only allowed a pass rating of less than 40 when he was targeted. And Steve Montez for Colorado is no slouch. He is no slouch. This Oregon defense just did a very good job of neutralizing him. And then look, he only allowed a reception for 9 yards. This guy is definitely tiptoeing in that second to third round territory, and I really look forward to see where he'll fall once I go do my draft after this. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube stuff. Be on the lookout. Like I said, target date is Thursday, so be around for that. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.